Hey everybody, so in this video I'm going to give you a tour of ZotGPT Chat and give you basically all the information you need to get started with using it. So to begin, to access ZotGPT Chat, you will go to chat.zotgpt.uci.edu. That is where I am right now. And once you go there, you'll arrive at the chat interface, which will look something like what I have right here. Now, this functions just like any other sort of chatbot experience. You can type your message right here in the text entry field. So I could tell it, write a short story about UC Irvine's mascot, Peter the Anteater. I can type that in, send it, and then just a few seconds later, the AI begins writing that story for me. So that is how you interact with ZotGPT Chat. Now, there's a lot of other settings and things that you can do beyond just what I've shown you here. First of all, if you want to start a brand new chat, if you have an existing one and you want to start fresh, you can click on the Start New Chat button up here at the top. When you do have a fresh new chat, in addition to just the text entry field, which I've shown you, you have some other options here. So first of all, Start New Chat is going to be the default experience when you first arrive. You also have this Start from Prompts button. If you click on this, what it will do is display a few of these pre-written prompts that you could go and use with ZotGPT if you want. So for example, we have our virtual ideator. If I click on use prompt, you'll see it actually automatically sends this pre-written prompt to ZotGPT Chat. And so this is a great functionality if you want to utilize a prompt that is already there and ready for you to use. In addition to those three pre-written ones that we have there, we actually have our prompt library, which you can access down here in the lower right of this yellow box. So if you want to see more of these pre-written prompts, you can go browse them right down there. In addition to that, we can, of course, choose which model that we want to interact with. So in ZotGPT Chat, you don't just have one AI model, you actually can choose from a pretty large menu of models. So if I click on the model button right here, you can see that I can pick from models from Google Gemini, Anthropic Claude, GPT-5 here, which is the latest from OpenAI, at least as of the recording of this video. Down below, we have some other options that are what we consider to be more advanced options, depending upon your needs. And then there's even more down here in the other and legacy sections. If I click on those, you can see it expands further. So we have a ton of AI models to choose from. Generally speaking, what we recommend is that most users just work with these three recommended models at the top. These are models that we find tend to work relatively well for most use cases. So you can work with those. But then if you did want to experiment with other models, we have those available as well. So you can choose which model you want to interact with. And then next, you can actually choose the conversation style. So you can see right now I have balanced as my choice. You can click on this and switch it to something like precise. Precise is a great choice if you are uploading a document or if you are providing some data in your prompt and you want the AI to adhere closely to that data and not get, too creative. You don't want to deviate too far from staying focused on that data. That's a great use case for precise. You could switch it to creative. Creative, as the name implies, this will encourage the AI to kind of think outside the box. So for that use case I just did of the story about Peter the Anteater, that might be a great choice for using a creative mode. Or if you want just kind of a nice balance of the two, you can choose balanced. There's also a custom option here that's available for advanced users. But generally speaking, I would say for most users, precise, balanced, and creative. You can kind of decide which one best suits your needs. You can see there's an Upload Files button. And if you click on that button, you are given the opportunity to upload one or more files into your conversation. When you upload a file, you can either upload from your local computer, or you will see that we have buttons for OneDrive and Google Drive, so you can upload from them as well. And when you upload a file, you have the choice. Do you want to do document analysis vision, or do you want to do text extraction OCR? The difference between these is that document analysis vision, this is when you want the AI to visually analyze whatever file you're giving it. So if it's something like a photograph or an image file, that would be a logical choice for this. Also, if you've got a document that has a lot of visual data, like infographics or charts or things like that, the vision analysis can be a very useful choice. Currently, as of the recording of this video, we only support these image file types for vision. So if, for example, you're working with a PDF, you would want to convert to one of these file types. That is a feature that we're looking to expand upon in the future. Text extraction, as the name implies, this would be for any kind of a document that is primarily text-based, where there isn't as much of a need for a visual analysis. We're just extracting the text from that file. Then this would be a good choice. This would be kind of your default choice. If you're uploading a PDF, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, any of those types of files, then text extraction is a logical choice. So once you've uploaded your file, then just like we saw earlier, you can type in your prompt and you could do things like ask the AI questions about the file that you uploaded, perhaps ask it to summarize the data in that file, or convert the data in that file to a different format. Whatever it is that you would like to do, you can then prompt the AI to do that. So those are the main features of the chat interface here. One other thing I'll mention quickly is that you will see in the bottom right, we have the button to send your message. We also have a microphone button. So if you would like to do voice to text, that is a feature that we have available in ZotGPT Chat. Also, let me go back to my previous chat here with the Peter the Anteater conversation. You can see that when I get the response back from the AI, in the bottom right corner of that response, we got some options here. We can hit the garbage can if we want to delete that message. We have a copy button if you want to copy the content. We also have this little voice button, and if you click on this, the AI will actually read its response out loud to you. So it's a text-to-voice capability that we offer in ZotGPT Chat. Few other things that I want to highlight here. If you do want to see previous conversations, in the upper left corner, you'll see this little panel icon. You can click on that to see the history of conversations you've had in the past. For each of these chats, you can click on the little three dots to either edit the title that appears in the side panel if you want to change it to something that's more easy for you to reference. You can delete a chat if you want to get rid of it from your history. You can also star a chat, and if you star a chat, then it will appear over here in your starred chats area. This is just a great way to kind of keep track of conversations you've had with the AI that you would like to go back and reference in the future. Then you could star those. You do also have the ability to delete all of your chats. If you want to purge the history of interactions with ZotGPT Chat, that is a feature that we make available as well. In the upper right, you'll see we have some buttons. These buttons will appear once you have started a chat with ZotGPT. You'll see the customized chat button. This is where you can go in and you can actually change the model right in the middle of your conversation. So maybe I started with Claude, but now I want to switch to Gemini. I can do that right here. Likewise, you can change the style halfway through the conversation. You can also upload additional knowledge halfway through the conversation. The other options down here, you can enable or disable LaTeX. If you're working with math equations, this would be a very relevant feature. And you also have the ability to toggle reasoning on or off. Reasoning is essentially a capability that enables the AI to take more time to think about your question. This can often lead to better results, especially if you are prompting the AI with a tricky question, something that requires a little bit of critical thinking. You can turn reasoning on, and that will give the AI the space to think a little bit harder on the question that you gave it. One thing to note is that we actually have two different reasoning toggles here. We have this one right here that just turns reasoning on or off. You can adjust the token budget, which is basically how much of the AI's brain space do you want it to allocate to think on your question. I would generally just leave this at the default. You can turn it up if you want to, but just bear in mind that the more that you turn it up, the less space it gives the AI to output its final answer to you. So you don't want to turn it up too high because then it's going to have no space in which to talk back to you. So I usually just leave this at the default. You will also see a reasoning effort drop-down menu here at the bottom. This is a functionality that is specific for OpenAI models. So like GPT 4.1, GPT 5, those models are the ones that actually utilize the reasoning effort. And so if you do want those AI models to spend more time reasoning, you can set this from low to medium to high. But just bear in mind, this only impacts those models, whereas the reasoning mode up here will impact other models like Claude and Gemini. So those are those features. Additionally, we have some other options up here. We have an export button. Clicking on this will allow you to either copy the entire contents of your conversation and paste it wherever you want, or you could download it as a text file and have that file utilized for other things. And we have a share button. And the share button allows you to actually share a read-only link of your conversation. So you can share this with somebody else. This could be a very useful functionality if you were able to get the AI to do something very, very useful and you think that someone else may benefit from seeing what you did, then you could just get the shareable link for this conversation. Do bear in mind that they will need to have a UCI login in order for them to see this conversation that you had. All right, one last thing and we'll wrap up this video. In the upper right corner, you will see a little person icon up here. This is where you can go to manage your preferences. Well, one thing you can also do is if you want to switch this to dark mode, you can do it right there. There's dark mode. And also you can click on manage preferences. And this is basically where you set the default behavior for ZotGPT Chat so that you don't need to change things every time you go to interact with the AI. So at the top, you can select what is your default AI model. So if there's one that you prefer to talk to all the time, you could set that right here. Your default conversation style, whether it's balanced, precise, creative, you can set that right here. You can set the defaults with regards to the LaTeX, the reasoning that you saw earlier. That can all be set for default. And then down below, we have some additional defaults. What do you want the enter key to do? Would you like the enter key to create a new line? Or would you like the enter key to just send the chat message? You can toggle that right here. And you can toggle on some additional features like timestamps, power user mode. This would be if you want to really have more control over the conversation style. You can set that right here. And then you can also set the voice input language from English to other languages, as well as how the chat loads its conversations. So those are all the various settings that you can make in ZotGPT Chat. As you utilize the tool more, you'll become more accustomed to utilizing these different functionalities to serve your needs. If you have questions about anything that I've shared with you, you can reach out to us at oit-ai@uci.edu. Thanks for watching.